welcome to the Gun Talk After Show. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll try to get to everybody. Every call from every listener, no matter what the issue or problem, is important to us. So stick around for a little while as we call Tom Gresham back to the microphone and let our hair down a little bit, along with a little help from our show producer, Jim Kinsey, who will offer some words of wisdom, and Gun Talk Tech extraordinaire Michael will be checking in. And now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, we are now in the after show, the reloaded show, the extra magazine, the extra rounds, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. We just call it the after show. We're having fun around here. It's Tom Gresham, and glad that you could join us. We have a few people who have called in. We'll be talking to them. We also have the whole crew lined up here. We have Jim, Michael, and Michelle join us. Hey, guys.
Hello.
What up?
Okay. First of all, your take from today's show. I mean, most of it was about, a lot of it was about this raid out in California of Ares Armor. Just kind of your first impression of that whole thing.
You just wonder where this stuff's going to stop. I mean, to get away with this, they're going to take the next step. It's incrementalism.
Well, it certainly is that, and I don't think they stop on their own. I think the only way you stop them is we stop them. And honestly, the only way that happens is if Congress or the White House, does something, cuts budget, gets their attention somehow. I don't know how you stop them any other way, honestly.
My first impressions is that this is only the tip of the iceberg. Granted, it's getting a little bit of attention right now. People are starting to wake up and realize it, but I think that this is just the beginning of what's going to turn into a very hands-on, if you pardon the pun, grab for everyone's firearms.
Well, of course, President Obama is named very stringently anti-gun activist to head the ATF. So, I mean, there should be no surprise here that this is what we're getting. This is expected. The only problem is those of us who pay attention to this knew this was coming, but the vast majority of gun owners are completely not plugged in on this, and they don't know. And they may not even learn about this. And that's the frustrating part when you're trying to get help on all this. Michelle, you have worked with the public a lot, gun owners. Don't you find that a lot of them just are not savvy on the political front?
Well, that's absolutely the truth, Tom. There's so many people that want to go out and purchase a firearm, but they don't want to do anything to be able to keep that right, whether it's for their future children or grandchildren. And that's a conversation that we need to have. I said it's very easy on the radio with our circle of people that call in. We all feel the same way, but we've got to get it outside of that circle. This just shows how hugely vulnerable we all are.
Michelle, you said something interesting in the middle of all that. It perked up because, it is absolutely true that men and women speak different languages. We're, Mars and Venus, that whole deal. And you mentioned preserving our rights for our children and our grandchildren. And I wonder, is that a useful way of going about explaining this when you're talking to the general public?
It's definitely a tool to start a conversation. The problem is that, as you know, there's a lot of time invested into following things and researching, different political, just people that are running for different positions. You never really know where they stand by a speech on the telephone, if they happen to call you, or where they are with a television casting, and you really do have to dig into what their background speaks more so than what they're giving lip service to at the time.
It's a great point. Everybody's busy, and it actually does take work to stay informed on this because the media's not going to do it for you.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's what we try to do here, but not everybody listens here, and not everybody goes online, doesn't read David Codrea, doesn't, unfortunately, not everybody's a member of the NRA, because if you were getting their magazines, if you read the magazines, you would actually be informed on a lot of this stuff.
Well, and I was just going to say that, too, Tom. I get the America's Choice because, or First Defense for the, I guess, more of the women's standpoint, because my husband gets the other magazine, but they just had a huge write-up on all the different scenarios that ATF had put people into certain positions that were precarious and actually unlawful, but used them to the advantage of their mental instabilities to have illegal sales or people drawn into their stores to make illegal purchases. And it was frightening.
It is. I mean, if you're running a gun store, they're setting you up to make a mistake. I mean, I know people who run gun stores who have had the ATF write them up because 2 numbers were transposed on the forms.
And it's not even a matter of going into the stores that are out there. It's a matter of they were making up their own faux stores.
Oh, wow. So they were set up for stings. They were fake stores set up by ATF.
Right.
Wow.
Hey, Tom.
Amazing. Yes, sir.
We've got Kurt in Lebanon, Ohio, who wants to pipe in on this. What do you say?
Okay. You bet. Hey, Kurt, what's your thought on this?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the possibility of getting a silencer for a 22.
Mm-hmm.
And my worry is, okay, if I get a silencer for a 22, now do they have the right to show up anytime they want and say, I want to see that silencer? And if that's the case, do I have to have it? Should I keep it in a different location than my regular rifles? Does they come in and look at everything I've got, or what are the implications there?
I don't think that gives them the right to come in and look at your suppressor anytime they want to. I mean, I would think they would need a search warrant to come into your house at any given time.
Okay, so they still need a search warrant even though you've gone through all the paperwork and all that.
Yeah, I mean you didn't sign a waiver of your rights when you got that suppressor. So no, I know there's a lot of rumor, a lot of stuff you'll read on the internet. People say, "Oh yeah, well that gives them the right to come anytime they want." I don't think so. I mean, I can do some more research on it, but I don't believe that that's the case. I think all the laws are still there. I doubt whether or not they obey them is a whole different deal. I'll have to read what Mike said. He says, the president says, if you like your firearms, you can keep them. You can keep your firearms, period. Yeah, no, actually, in Barack Obama's case, he always said, I want to take away your guns. At least he's been straight up about that. He never made any bones about the fact that he wanted to confiscate guns. He wanted to ban guns. So I can fault him for a lot of things, but on that one, he's been pretty transparent on. So I tell you, as long as we're there, let's get Jim on 3 talking about holsters. Hey, Jim.
Hi there. I certainly appreciate your call, taking your call.
Mm-hmm.
Only took me 81 years to find you, unfortunately. I'm looking for a holster. I carry concealed a SIG 938 legally,
mm-hmm.
and the clothes that I wear are without a belt. They're sweats and expandables and things like that, and I'm looking for an inside the belt holster, inside the pants holster that will stay where it's supposed to be. Any help out there?
Yeah, the one that comes to mind would be a belly band, and it's basically an elastic strap that goes around your tummy, and it's got a pocket for a gun in it, because if you're not wearing a belt, there's really nothing to hook a holster onto, and sweats just don't have enough there to hook something onto. You guys have any thoughts, any ideas?
That was the first thing I thought of, was the belly band. It's not right for everyone, but for someone like this gentleman here that doesn't have a belt or a way to attach it, sounds like a great idea.
Jim, you ever thought about a belly band?
Yes, I have. I haven't found one that I like yet, and in my town, I just can't find it. I'm going to have to look in some of the magazines and online. But,
right.
I'm wasting your time, and I appreciate your time very much. I say I'm sorry I waited 81 years to find you on the radio.
Hey, I'm glad you did. Actually, I'm going to be in Baton Rouge all this week. We're shooting TV over there, so we'll be Thursday? We'll be at Precision, the shooting range there in Baton Rouge. So.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, that's where I shoot.
Oh, okay, good deal. Well, you might see us if you're over there on Thursday. You might run into us. Listen, thank you for your call. Hey, let me take a quick break here, guys, and we'll come back with another caller.
At Double Tap Ammunition, we hand inspect every round that we make, and we use only the best components to give you the best ammunition on the market. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
TopGunSupply.com carries a large selection of fine firearms and accessories. Get all the parts you need for your Sig Sauer, HK, and Glock pistols. Grips, screws, recoil springs, sights, barrels, magazines, holsters. The list goes on. Our knowledgeable sales staff, professional service, great prices, and super fast shipping are here to help you. Check us out today. TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com.
This is, of course, the after show for Gun Talk. By the way, if you didn't catch it while we were live, let me just say this again. We still are doing the giveaway from Console Vault. There are going to be 2 grand prize winners. All you have to do is go to guntalk.com/win and enter for a chance to win. And both winners are going to get their choice of anything that Console Vault makes. They have these great safes that go inside of the console of your truck or SUV. They've also got some cool wall safe setups that look like a fuse box or look like a temperature gauge. It's pretty cool stuff. ConsoleVault.com if you want to take a look at that. But by all means, I mean, somebody's going to win this stuff. Actually, 2 people are going to win. Go to guntalk.com/win. Let's go to line 4. Dennis is with us. Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Hey, Tom. I absolutely love the show. I can't believe it took me this long to find you.
Well, glad that you found us.
Yeah, I am too. And hey, I just got into reloading maybe a year and a half ago, and I'm loving it. And my favorite thing to reload for right now is 308 Winchester shooting a Remington 700 SPS varmint.
Okay.
I'm kind of doing just some long-range fun shooting with it out here in California, and it loves this 175 grain Sierra Match King bullet, okay, just for target shooting, long-range practice. Here's my quandary with the reloading manuals. I've been using a Hodgson reloading, well, I say Hodgson, but it's the Lee reloading manual. I noticed that the data on the Hodgson website matches, so they must be sharing information or something. Anyway, I saw a Sierra reloading manual recently, and I looked up the bullet, the 175 grain Sierra Match King, for my powder that I was using. Holy smokes, the Sierra manual shows the max almost at the minimum of the Hodgson manual. Now, the Hodgson manual does say 175 grain jacketed bullet, not the specific Sierra bullet. And should I be worried that I'm shooting right in the middle of what the Lee manual says to do? When I look at the Sierra manual, I'm almost at the top end, or maybe even over. Should I be worried?
Probably not if it's working for you. Now, let me back up, because when you first started off, I thought you said you were shooting a 135 grain bullet. Are you shooting 175?
No. Yeah, 175.
Okay, got it. All right. Here's the thing, and you're going to find this kind of discrepancy because every rifle is a law unto itself. Every chamber is a different law unto itself. And you can have a rifle that maxes out, just pick a number, at 40 grains of powder, and another one with the same bullet, same case, same everything else, and it will go all the way to 50 grains without showing signs of pressure. Did you start kind of low and work your way up to where you are on your powder charge?
Absolutely. I usually don't start at the very bottom, but I usually split the difference between what the medium is and the low end and start working up at a half grain at a time from there and go up. And what I found is when I get near the top, I don't like being near the top anyway for the reasons you say on your show. You know, when you put all those variables in there, it's really hot or whatever the conditions change, now you really might be pushing it. I don't really find I'm getting much better accuracy out of it anyway. And the brass is probably not going to last as long.
Right. Generally, you'll get better accuracy backing off 10, 15% from max anyway. That's usually what happens. You're going to be fine. You have figured it out. You're doing it correctly. You're working your way up. You know, the guy says if you have one thermometer, you're absolutely sure. If you have 2 and they don't agree, you have no idea what the temperature is. That's why you need 3. I think you need 3 loading manuals. And between all of those, besides they're fun to read. You know, you might pick up the Nosler manual or the Barnes, you know, one of the others. They're just fun to have anyway. And then you can compare and say, okay, well, this makes me feel pretty comfortable about where I am. But look, congratulations on the 308 and especially on getting into hand loading. Don't you find that hand loading becomes a cool hobby in and of itself in addition to the shooting?
Much to the chagrin of my wife. She got me the stuff for Christmas on my request. But and I got to plug Lee. I know they're on the lower end of the scale for price-wise stuff, but I got this classic turret press, and it's the coolest thing because I can take the little rod out in the middle and do single loads like that. Or, you know, if I go back to loading my 45 ACP, boom, I'm pumping through pistol rounds pretty fast to load up for the IDPA meet, you know, and it's just really cool, and I'm getting addicted to it. That's the problem.
I get it. I understand. Look, thank you so much for the call, Dennis, and be safe out there. Sounds to me like you're doing it right. Mike, I don't know that I know Jim doesn't reload. Do you do any reloading, Michael?
No, and I wish I did because, like he said, it's a lot of fun. I had the opportunity to do it on a friend's press, and it was a riot. I do have a buddy that does make them for me, And that's nice because you save a lot of money.
On the one hand, there's reloading just to save money, where you just need a lot of ammo. Then there is the reloading for accuracy, which is now you're not doing it on a progressive. You're probably doing it with a single-stage press, and it's a precision, a lot slower, but you're making really, really accurate ammo. It's a fun way to go there, too. So I tell you, the other thing I like is I like to go hunting with ammo I've made. There's something kind of added to the whole enjoyment of going out and taking a deer or a moose or something with ammo that I loaded myself. I guess it must be like catching a trout on a fly that you tied or something.
It's a pride thing, sure. You know, something else we kind of glossed over, and I think Michelle will attest to this, is the father-son or mother-son, father-daughter, whatever, bonding time you can get by reloading.
It's a great point. What you don't want, just to make a fine point on this, you don't want the TV on when you're reloading, because you need to be paying attention to what you're doing. But you can be having a good conversation. So when you get in there and start loading with somebody, you can talk about not just reloading, but all sorts of things. It's kind of a forced quality time that you could have together.
Yep, those times are getting shorter and shorter.
Well, we're all getting busier and busier. And at the very least, tell them to put down the device and quit texting and
put down that cigarette.
Into it. Oh, yeah. Smoking while loading. That's a really good idea.
No.
Oh, man. As you guys kind of look at what we did today, we had a lot of different interesting questions about everything from 44 caliber rifles. Can you use the same ammo in them to, a Glock carbine, and then how to clean your barrel. We were all over the place. Any calls in particular stand out?
I like the carbine thing. I thought it was one of those, solutions in search of a problem, I guess. But I'm going to research it as soon as we're off this.
Yeah, but it looks cool, yeah. The one I liked is when we had a guy calls in with a problem with his lever action Marlin, and then we have other people calling in and saying, hey, here's what you can do, and here's where you can go. And you can go to, Rimfire Central is the website, rimfirecentral.com, and other people have ideas. I like it when we all get together and help each other out. That's one of the fun parts about this community of gun owners.
Well, look at the incredible knowledge base that some of these people have. I mean, you can learn so much just by a 5-minute conversation with some of these people. It's great.
I've been hanging around this a long time, and I don't know all this stuff, not even close to it. That's why I'm always happy to call for help. And there's always somebody out there who knows. I mean, there may be somebody who says, yeah, I specialize in pre-1920 lever action. You go, really? Well, I'm glad you called because you're our guy.
And the surprise is the person that knows this stuff might not be the Walmart gun clerk.
Never know. Could be, but maybe not. Which, by the way, speaking of people that know things, in about a week and a half, I'm going to go out to Cody, Wyoming, where they really do have experts out there. So at the Cody Museum and the Firearms Museum out there, which is really cool.
Yeah, don't forget to send the itinerary for the whole staff so we don't miss
That's right. So we'll all get together out there. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, look, I appreciate it. Appreciate you helping me put the show together. It's always fun. And for everybody, I would say keep checking my Twitter feed. It actually is like a news feed. So as we get more information about this Ares armor, the ATF raid on that, I'll be posting that there. We'll have news through the week. So if you want to stay on top of what's going on, honestly, one of the best ways is just to go over to Twitter, where I'm at Gun Talk, and plug into that. Because like you guys are saying, it's hard to stay on top of this stuff. I spend literally dozens of hours a week on this to stay on top of this stuff.
Is there a lot of misinformation, have you noticed?
Yeah, most of it's the stuff that I send out.
Nice.
There is, but it kind of it gets corrected. What you get is real fast reaction because it works at internet speed. And people will react to bogus stories. If you sit back and let the cycle run for 24 hours, it usually sorts itself out on a lot of these things. So, the thing to do is to not email it to 500 of your friends of, you'll never guess what happened. And then they all come back and say, yeah, have you checked? That's actually a hoax. Oh, darn.
Tom, do you have any suggestions to somebody as to where they can go to check the sources and to see if it's an actual...
If it's a story like out of the news and it sounds like it's just too weird or something, Snopes is not bad, Snopes, Snopes.com. Sometimes they get things wrong, but generally they're right on that. The other is keep drilling down, look at the source. Yeah, it's on the internet, but see if you can find it from an actual news source, a CNN, a Fox, even a local TV station or a newspaper, as opposed to being just posted on somebody's website. I like to find supporting information on a lot of this stuff, and so you end up having to be a reporter to check out the reporters.
You're suggesting we go to a credible news source or MSNBC?
That's true. That's right. You could go to MSNBC or you could go to Real News Place. Exactly right. I like it.
I was just thinking if there was a place that you could send them to, very easily, that perhaps we could help with some of this research with, your candidates and local news. It would be an awesome
one of the
thing.
best places is actually a website called keepandbeararms.com. It's a news aggregator site, kind of like a Drugs Report, and every day they have a lineup of stories about guns, gun rights, self-defense, use of guns. It's not everything you're looking for, but it's a really good place to check out each day. Just go to keepandbeararms.com, and I'm there daily picking up stories, so at least it's a place that's a start.
Excellent.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Now, all the listeners, thank you for your help. Don't forget, please, if you listen to Gun Talk on your local radio station, call them and thank them. If you don't have it locally, call your radio station and tell them you want your Gun Talk. Meanwhile, we will see you next week.
Now, wasn't that fun? You'll probably want to join us again next week for the Gun Talk After Show. It comes up right after the radio broadcast right here. It's where Tom and some of the crew and staff stick around and let their hair down a little bit, doing what they do best, talking about guns. We'll see you right here next week.